Welcome to Music from the Heartland with Songs at the Center, celebrating the craft of songwriting. Our guest for this Master Series episode has sold over 40 million recordings. He's known for writing and performing Grammy-winning recordings, Everything is Beautiful and Misty, as well as world-famous novelty hits such as Guitarzin and The Streak. Songs at the Center brings you one of the music world's truly unique and lasting talents, Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame and Country Music Hall of Fame member, Ray Stevens. Funding for Songs at the Center provided by...
At the James at Ohio State, a cancer diagnosis is never routine. That's why we opened the James Cancer Diagnostic Center, a place where you can turn if you think you have cancer. Learn more at cancer.osu.edu/diagnostic center.
Funding also provided by Jobs Ohio.
Hey, Grandpa, someday I'm gonna touch the top of that tree.
Well, why stop there when you can touch the sky and create amazing things? And you can touch hearts, expand minds and imaginations. But no matter what you do, I want you to promise me one thing, that you will always reach for the top.
I promise, Grandpa.
If you can dream it, you can find it here.
Bye, Mr. Tree.
Now the creator and host of our show, Eric Gnezda.
Welcome to Songs at the Center. We're thrilled to be in Nashville, coming to you from the Cabaret Showroom with, on this Master Series episode, a legend, a two-time Grammy Award winner who, through the years, has garnered 11 nominations, has sold more than 40 million records, and is an architect of the Nashville sound, Mr. Ray Stevens.
Everything is beautiful in its own way, like a starry summer night or a snow-covered winter's day. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. Under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way. And there is none so blind as he who will not see. We must not close our minds. We must let our thoughts be free. Every hour that passes by, you know the world gets a little bit older. It's time to realize the beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. And everything is beautiful in its own way. Like a starry summer night or a snow-covered winter's day. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. Under God's heaven, the world's gonna find a way.
Thank you so much. That was a song that you wrote for your television special back in 1970.
Well, actually, I was signed to host the Andy Williams Summer Show,
Right.
on NBC, and the whole summer we shot 8 shows, I believe.
Right.
And I wanted to write a song that could be used as the theme for the show, so I finally came up with that, and sure enough, it was good enough to fill the bill.
And you said that you locked yourself in the basement for about 3 days and tried all kinds of different ways to get to that tune. And you had a book of something. Do you remember what that was, where you got the idea for the song? It was
It was a little book of Chinese proverbs, I think. And one of the proverbs was, everything is beautiful in its own way, grasshopper, or something like that.
Yeah. After Everything is Beautiful, I'm sure you got lots of mail on that, but somebody wrote and said that as a result of that song, her husband had returned home, returned to the family, and turned back to God. And you said you never know how a song that you write is going to affect somebody.
That's true. And I've had many letters that said that this or that song had influenced some action that was so far positive.
Yeah.
And so, you got to be aware that people are out there listening,
Yeah.
And music is so important in all our lives. I feel blessed that some of my songs have influenced things in a good way, or so I'm told. So
Yeah. Well, Beth Nielsen Chapman, who we had on our show, said that there are mailbox hits that bring you money, and then there are heart box hits. And she said they don't bring you money, but they hit the heart. And you've certainly written a lot of those.
Oh, well, thank you. There are some songs that qualify in both of those areas, so try for that.
Yeah, right. Following your career, watching you all these years, I have to say you have quite a bit of courage. And one of your late friends, Chet Atkins, called you a beaver because you like to build stuff.
That's right, yeah.
And I think that's really indicative, not only in terms of building things like Cabaret and other things that you've built in Branson and such, but as you as a songwriter, because when you're writing a song, the production becomes so much a part of that. And how much, do songs differ for you, like The Streak? Are you thinking of production as you're writing it, or is that a separate step?
Well, no, production plays a part in putting the song together. When I moved to Nashville in '62, I came up here to be an assistant A&R with Mercury. Shelby Singleton moved me up here.
Yeah.
And he was in charge of recordings for all of Mercury artists here in Nashville. I came up and joined Jerry Kennedy, who was already here, to help Shelby do that. And so played on a lot of sessions when I got to town. And because of that experience, it was sort of ingrained in me that the production of the record was important. The most important thing in any recording is the song.
The song, right.
But the production certainly ranks right up there.
Yeah, because your production is so, it launches into areas we're not used to hearing in its time, and is very creative.
Well, thank you.
And how do you come up with those ideas? Do you experiment a lot in the studio?
Sure, yeah. You try something that doesn't work, you go to something else.
Yeah. I've found that over the years, the more things that you're able to do in the music business always comes to your benefit. In terms of business, you said you played a lot of studio work, production, songwriting, and you came to town at a good time and helped build that, as we said, the Nashville sound.
Yeah, I got here just at the right time. I think I'm in this showroom, there are murals on the walls, and most of the pictures are of studio musicians. And out in the lobby of the showroom, there's a plaque that says, in the beginning, there was the Grand Ole Opry. Then came the recording studios. And the photographs on the walls inside the showroom reveal some of the pioneers in those studios who were indispensable in creating the Nashville sound and building Music City, USA.
Yeah.
And the whole world sang along, So here we are, and I was so fortunate to meet all these people, and I learned a lot from all these great musicians.
Well, Ray, one of your earliest hits was one of my father's favorite songs. I remember many times him commenting on it, and I was wondering if you'd do it for us, Mr. Businessman.
I sure will, if I can remember how it goes. Let's see now. How you like it so far? Itemize the things you covet, as you squander through your life. Bigger cars, bigger houses, term insurance for your wife. Tuesday evenings with your harlot, and on Wednesdays it's your charlatan analyst. He's high up on your list. You've got air-conditioned sinuses, dark disturbing doubt about religion, and you keep those cards and letters going out while your secretary's tempting you. Your morals are exempting you from guilt and shame. Heaven knows you're not to blame. You better take care of business, Mr. Businessman. What's your plan? Get down to business, Mr. Businessman, if you can, before it's too late and you throw your life away. Did you see your children growing up today? Did you hear the music of their laughter as they set about to play? Did you catch the fragrance of those roses in your garden? Did the morning sunlight warm your soul, brighten up your day? Do you qualify to be alive, or is the limit of your senses so is only to survive? Spending counterfeit incentive, wasting precious time and health, placing value on the worthless, disregarding priceless wealth. You can wheel and deal the best of them, steal it from the rest of them. You know the score. Their ethics are a bore. 86 proof anesthetic crutches prop you to the top, where the smiles are all synthetic and the ulcers never stop. When they take that final inventory, yours will be the same sad story everywhere. No one will really care, no one more lonely than this rich important man. Let's have your autograph, endorse your epitaph. You better take care of business, Mr. Businessman. What's your plan? Get down to business, Mr. Businessman, if you can. Hey, 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 hey,
hey. Yeah.
This episode of Songs at the Center comes to you from Nashville's Ray Stevens Cabaret Showroom.
Well, Ray, you're also known as a great arranger. In fact, you did an album in which you played all the instruments on the album, and some of these instruments you're playing now on these tracks. Tell us about that.
I know exactly what I want, so with all the advent of multi-tracks, I've got a studio here in this building that it's the board, I think, has 48 tracks. And then you push a button, you got 48 more. And you push another button, you got 48 more. So it's an endless amount of tracks. And with that many tracks and no loss in quality of sound, I know what I want. And if I can play it, I'll just play it, you know.
But some songwriters, when their songs are done, they hand it over to a producer. They don't really care about production, but that's so much a part of who you are in the creative process.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a musician, so
yeah,
I love to, you know, play and sing all the parts and all that.
When you first came to Nashville, as you said, you're doing a lot of production and all that, and you produced Dolly Parton's first record.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about that.
Well, Fred, I was working for Monument Records at the time, Fred Foster's label, and Fred just signed a new girl from East Tennessee, and her name was Dolly Parton, and he said, why don't you record her? And I said, okay. And so we went in the studio, and we had a lot of fun, and we made good records. None of them made it, of course, but I was very proud of the fact that I got to produce her first records, because she is, of course, since then gone on to cut many hits.
Yeah.
And been
I'm
very,
sure you get
very-
asked this a lot, but did you know at that time what a big star she was going to be?
Well, I kind of suspected she would be because
Yeah.
she was drop dead gorgeous. And I remember we were at my house rehearsing one day, and my wife said, "Who was that girl?" You know, and I said, "Well, that's Dolly Parton. I'm going to produce her." And she said, "Oh, okay."
Well, Ray, we're going to do something that we've never done on this show. You're going to sing with an invisible orchestra. You've brought tracks along, which we can't wait to hear. But this song is called Just for the Hell of It, and I love the story of it. Can you tell us how this one came about?
Yes, I can. Burt Reynolds came to me one day, and he said, "I want you to write a song for a movie that I'm making called Cannonball Run." And I said, "Well, okay." And so I wrote the song Cannonball Run, and it was in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a copy of the movie to watch and said, "If you get any other ideas, write another song that'll go in the movie if you're inspired by a scene or something." And I said, "Great." So I looked at the movie, and there was one scene where Bert is in a trailer with Farrah Fawcett. And they're talking, and she asks him, she says, "Why are you doing this?" In other words, "Why are you doing the Cannonball Run?" And he said, "Just for the hell of it." And so I thought, well, that was a great song title. So I wrote the song, and it was a little bit in the movie, not very much. But you know how the movies cut things up and make them fit the scene.
Right.
But that's how that came about.
Well, let's hear Just for the Hell of It.
Let's do. Most people have settled for that daily routine, that comfortable niche, where life is okay, if you know what I mean, and you don't scratch the itch. But we're born to die, and time races by, and most people ask why. All their romances, all their fat chances have just passed them by. And late in the season, they can't find a reason to give it a try. We're just for the hell of it. Let's find a little laughter while it's worth going after. We have some time, just for the hell of it. Let's find a little love. That's what this world's made of, and we're almost past our prime. You and me don't want to be just another couple of run-of-the-mill. We gotta grab some of those thrills and frills and spills and chills, just for the hell of it. I asked a trumpet player to do a solo using one note, and he did. Well, except for right here, of course. Yeah, just for the hell of it. Let's find a little laughter while it's worth going after. We're wasting time, just for the hell of it. Let's find a little love. That's what this world's made of, and we're still in our prime. You and me don't want to be just another couple of run-of-the-mills. We gotta grab some of those thrills and frills and spills and chills, just for the hell of it.
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 Oh, I'm trying to figure it out, and I know it's just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it.
Your dad and mom had quite an influence on your early years, of course, and your mom insisted that you take piano lessons. And when you first did it, you know, you weren't that into it, but you said that one time you were playing the Marines hymn and it all hit you. You began to understand it. What happened at that moment?
Well, you know, I was born in '39, and right before World War II. And so the Marine hymn was a big song back in those days. In 1945, when the war ended, I was 6 years old. And I was, my first piece of sheet music was the Marine hymn, and I was playing it. And all of a sudden, I looked down at the keys and I thought, well, yeah, this makes sense. And so I just had an epiphany, I guess you could say. And from then on, I have been able to play by ear, is the phrase, I think. And I stayed with it for a long time. I took classical piano lessons for 15 years when I was a kid, starting at age 6.
Well, Ray, one of your huge hits was The Streak. And, you know, I was in high school at the time, and I remember our choir saying, don't sleep in the subway, and we changed the words to don't streak in the subway. And a lot of that fever of The Streak came from the song. And I want to hear, first of all, where you got the idea. I heard you were on a plane and got the idea, and how did it go
on
from
airplanes, in those days, they had a selection of magazines.
Yeah.
Not a very good selection, but I think it was either Time or Newsweek had a short story, a little blurb in the back about a college student in California who took off his clothes and ran through a crowd, and they called that streaking. And I thought, well, now that's a good idea for a song. That could catch on. And I got home and I wrote the song and went in the studio and recorded it. By the time I got my record out, though, there were already 12 other streaking records on the market. Luckily, mine was the one that made it. And my record started out with an announcer going, "Hello, everyone. This is your Action News reporter with all the news that is news across the nation. On the scene at the supermarket. There seems to have been some disturbance here. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened?" And he said, "Yeah, I did. I was just standing over there by the tomatoes, and here he come, running through the pole beans, through the fruit and veggies. He's naked as a jaybird. Ethel is over there in the jams, jellies, preserves, and pickles." I hollered over her. I said, "Don't look, Ethel!" It's too late. She'd done been incensed. And then the music starts, and the background singers go, "Here he comes," and I say, "Boogity, boogity, there he goes, boogity, boogity. And he ain't wearing no clothes. Oh, yes, I call him the Streak." And then I go, "Boogity, boogity, fastest thing on 2 feet. He's just as proud as he can be of his anatomy. He gonna give us a peek. Oh, yes, they call him the Streak. Likes to show off his physique. If there's an audience to be found, he'll be streaking around, inviting public critique." I think that's all we need to do with that one.
Oh, that's great. Well, Ray, thanks for joining us here at your cabaret showroom in Nashville, and we really enjoyed being with you, and we really mean it.
Well, thanks for coming.
And thank you. We hope that you'll tune in to television stations all across America, where you'll always find Songs at the Center. I'm Eric Gnezda, and we'll see you next time.
Funding for Songs at the Center provided by Jobs Ohio.
Hey, Grandpa, someday I'm gonna touch the top of that tree.
Well, why stop there when you can touch the sky and create amazing things? And you can touch hearts, expand minds and imaginations. But no matter what you do, I want you to promise me one thing, that you will always reach for the top.
I promise, Grandpa.
If you can dream it, you can find it here.
Bye, Mr. Tree.
Additional funding provided by
At the James at Ohio State, a cancer diagnosis is never routine. That's why we opened the James Cancer Diagnostic Center, a place where you can turn if you think you have cancer. Learn more at cancer.osu.edu/diagnostic center.
Learn more about Songs at the Center at songsatthecenter.tv.